Atheists Talk on KTNF AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Good morning to all of you joining us locally by radio and streaming online. We appreciate you tuning in. Today is Sunday, May 20th, 2018, and I'm your host, Herzey Hertz. I'm in studio with the ever-awesomes Maddy Love, Marissa McCool, and Priscilla McCool, who was our first time on the radio, well, this station.
First time here.
And on Skype, we should be getting Larry Yellingman, but he is... Oh.
Hello?
Oh, you're here.
Yeah, you know what I found out? It helps if my microphone is on.
Wow. Try turning it off and on again.
Well, that's good, Larry, because we are live. All right. This isn't...
Have you tried turning it off and on again? Have you tried?
We just made that joke.
All right, give me 2 seconds, guys. I got to finish the intro. This is an open conversation, and we welcome and encourage listener interaction with your phone calls to 952-946-6205, your emails to radio@mnatheist.org, or tweet us at Atheists Talk. The phone number is only available when we're live, but you can always email or tweet us whether we're live or you're listening to the podcast. Maddy, Marissa, Priscilla, Larry, welcome.
Thanks.
Hello.
Thank you. My name's Priss. Either one's fine. You can Priss or Priscilla's fine.
We're going to go with Priss.
That was a great
Awesome.
facepalm. Facepalms are awesome on the radio.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right. Well, today we're going to take a different format. We're going to steal from Larry, whose show is Man Yells at News. And so we're going to just talk about some articles that we found. And Larry, do you happen to have a D6?
A what?
See, that's like this.
You're a nerd.
It's called like a dice thingy. It's got dots on each side, and I think there's 6 sides on a D6, but it could be wrong because I don't keep up gamer culture.
What kind of no illusions impersonator are you, Larry?
Not one. That's the kind of impersonator I am. Not one.
I was going to say, this is breaking. Matthew and I have this theory that, pretty much every podcaster has played D&D at some point. This is breaking the mold here.
Guilty.
I'm aware of its existence. That's about it. I'm aware.
I'm with you there.
All right. Well, let me get a random number generator up here.
Honestly, that's how I do my podcast.
ONG.
Just random every day. Just go on all right, here we go.
Each word you say is random, like ONG. Like you just decide.
Oranges, pineapples, George Bush.
All
right. Well, the generator said 1. So, Maddy.
No, I am not number 1. I am always number 2.
Fine.
All right, fine. If you say so.
We are number 1.
So it's good that I'm going first because I am the least familiar with this topic. I just unfortunately started listening to Larry's show last night.
I'm so sorry.
I am too. I have like an entire backlog now I have to get through because before
No, you do not. No, you do not.
Yes. Wait. I promised Larry I would start at number 7 because he said that's when he got his mic, and then I said, well, I'm going to skip to number 10 because that was one that had Priss and Marissa on it.
Oh yeah.
All right, so my news story is Megan Fox's alternative history show has archaeologists rightfully, am I allowed to say pissed on the radio? Oops, I just did, so I guess I am.
Yeah.
I was told not to swear, and I do that all the time, so I'm assuming y'all aren't allowed either.
Well, I'm going to say then that it has archaeologists rightfully upset.
There you
Is
go.
that a better word? No,
Yeah.
It's the other one.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is from April 25th this year. Apparently, Megan Fox, after getting done with the Transformers movie and Megan's Body, and I don't know what else she did.
That was Jennifer's Body.
Whatever. I don't watch horror to begin with, and I'm definitely not watching porno horror.
Wasn't she April O'Neil too?
She was.
Was she really?
Yeah, she's
God.
April O'Neil.
I actually like those 2 movies. Wait, was she in the second one? I didn't see the second one.
Sorry, I'm gonna move over there. You
totally
like those
should.
movies? So
Okay, well, no. I enjoy like a good Nicolas Cage movie. I enjoyed them, but I did not like them.
Hey,
They're good.
You gotta understand. There's 4 of us, and we're taking on a shredder.
What is Nick Cage?
No.
Is it Donatello? Is that who are you?
Nick Cage as Splinter.
Oh wow!
I think I just threw up in my mouth.
I think I just threw up in your
Watch
mouth.
out.
I made another funny. Have you seen Con Air?
My childhood. Back
Wow.
in the box.
Yeah, that movie.
Donatello does machines.
That movie is definitely almost 30 years old. It's 29 years old.
No, the new movie.
Oh well, yeah. I made a funny joke. Was I'm ruining your jokes right now. I'm just poking holes in everything that you're doing, Marissa.
Stop with the innuendo. I was in Face Off. I could eat a peach for hours.
Face waterfall.
All right, so back to Megan Fox's show.
Things that you should never actually say out loud in a normal conversation. Back to Megan Fox's show.
Surprisingly enough, this is exactly what happened when we moved on to Claire's show.
Yeah, we just completely threw out the format.
You mean improved it? You mean improved?
I mean, I guess.
Well, there's once here at the bottom. There's nowhere to go but up anyway. So
Wow, that's strong words. From
I'm the producer. I will say whatever I want.
You will, but I mean, okay.
Well, I loved listening to Bethany and Trav sing Adventure Time in Steven's Universe. So, according to Deadline, the Travel Channel just gave a green light to Mysteries and Myths with Megan Fox, which is a 4-episode TV show, reality show, where she is talking about how archaeologists are, quote, gatekeepers of information actively trying to hide the truth, whatever that may be. Yeah, this story goes on with trying to explain why Megan Fox should be anybody you would want to listen to. But then thankfully it redeems itself by saying, most baffling of all is that Fox seemingly feels her lack of academic qualifications makes her more qualified. Because, of course, the least amount of expertise you have, the more of an expert you are in anything, which is why I ask all of my cis friends how I should best be trans.
It's called punk rock education. It's saying I'm not a part of your system, and in doing so, you're defaulted to being smarter than those who are a part of the system. To all of those who want to not be a part of the system. That sounds really complex, but just write it down and it'll make more sense in a minute.
Okay, I'd like all of the people who have this idea that they're smarter than the experts to go and to do their own taxes, or do the taxes of somebody who's got really complicated taxes, and go, because that exactly is why we have experts. And they're going to be like, oh no, taxes are too hard. I'm not an expert. I'm like, yes, you're also not an expert at this either.
No, research flat Earth. You don't know what you're talking about. You just have to Google the words and you'll see what I mean. It's all the information's right there.
I prefer School of Rock education personally.
I get the feeling this is going to be the Dunning-Kruger show, especially with my story coming up sometime, especially with my story.
All right, Marissa, do you want to go next?
Yeah. I don't even need to see the article because I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Prepared.
A Republican candidate in California decided to prove just how dangerous trans people are by filming herself going into the bathroom and confronting a transgender person using the bathroom, because if anything demonstrates your moral superiority, it's going into a Denny's while filming in a public restroom to show that someone in there is the creepy one.
That's a grand slam.
Yeah.
Well, you see, it's kind of like how if you're trying to catch someone who's robbing places, what you really need to do is go to their house and rob all their stuff and the entire neighborhood just to be sure. And then you can come back and be like, see, they were going to do it first. They're going to steal the Declaration of Independence. That's the movie plot now. I'm the good one.
I had to steal their stuff to show you how they would steal stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have to show it to the public, because obviously the problem is lack of visibility with trans people. Otherwise, everyone would be as outraged as me, because they don't actually know what's happening. So I'm going to go be the monster to prove them wrong and right simultaneously somehow.
I love that.
Okay, I got to say, they're at Denny's, so that's strike one already.
Oh, I love Denny's.
Yeah, at least
That's because there's no other diners in Minnesota. You just have no
Miami.
standards.
I was going to say, have you been to Perkins? Perkins is way worse.
No, I love
I used to go to Perkins every night.
I don't know what a Perkins is.
You know what a Denny's is? It's the same
I do,
thing.
and I kind of wish I didn't.
It's the same. It's an IHOP, but it's open all night.
Yeah.
I think we have one IHOP.
My wife and I courted it at Perkins.
Wait. East Coaster here, so forgive me. Your Denny's aren't open all night?
No, our Denny's are open all night too.
Some of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is the one on Lake Street open all night?
I don't go to Lake Street at night. I'm on the Greenway at night, which is sort of Lake Street, but less safe.
Are we seriously talking about Denny's right now?
What is wrong with Denny's? Never mind. I got you way off topic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to?
I am not making a stand for Denny's on the radio.
No. So pretty much the point is this kind of activism not only hurts trans people, but it also hurts, cis women who might look a tad masculine, like my friend Molly Cottle, who went into the Target bathroom and had the nerve to have short hair, and someone somehow checking in through people's bathroom stalls to make sure that's not one of the transgenders, because I don't know, they think the transgenders are the people who are creepy in bathrooms while you're peering into someone's bathroom stall.
I don't understand what's so complicated about this. Like, are people just blinded by hatred?
Yes.
I can't imagine any other reason why this would be happening.
Hatred and misinformation. Deliberate misinformation.
Oh, why would anybody want to look over a bathroom stall in the first place?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Completely.
I don't even want to. I hate even being in the. I used to clean those things, so naturally I hate being near them. What the?
All right. Well, that is going to be it for this segment. We have another one in just a couple minutes, but please stay with us through the break, and we'll return to Atheist Talk with Maddy, Marissa, Priss, and Larry. I'm Herzey Hertz, and you're listening to AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Welcome back to AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota. You're tuned into Atheist Talk, and I'm your host, Herzey Hertz, in studio with today's guests, Maddy Love, Marissa McCool, Priss McCool, and Larry Yellingman. Before we get back, however, I want to remind everyone listening live that immediately following this program, you can listen to the American Atheist Viewpoint, an official production of the American Atheist. Please note, you can always catch American Atheist Viewpoint by subscribing to the podcast version in iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or the podcast player of your choice. As for the here and now, if you'd like to get involved in the conversation with Maddy, Marissa, Priss, Larry, and I, this morning you can call us at 952-946-6205, email us at radio@mnatheist.org, or tweet us at Atheist Talk. Ladies, gent, welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
So last we left off, Maddy and Marissa, you guys have done your stories. Priss, do you want to go next?
I can, yeah. Okay, so we know about the transgender rollback, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about with the trans protections for prisons nationwide. I didn't specifically prepare an article because I'm just still so upset about this. It's been a week, and I've done my fair share of writing on the topic, as has Marissa. I can't seem to want to talk about anything else other than that, because the first thing I thought was, oh my God, the president literally just killed a bunch of trans people. And it doesn't seem, nobody else seems to be understanding that part, because maybe my social media feeds aren't full of the right people that are raging currently. Or maybe it's just me, but I can't get past that myself. And it's like, yeah, it's not funny. I know, like the last segment was, but that's simply just where I'm at. I can't think of anything else in terms of news. I haven't even pulled up my Reddit app really, and except once this week. I can't even bother to think about anything else until that's taken care of, because it was like at the end of the last presidency, it was one of those like final pieces of legislation that Obama sort of threw out. You know, at the end of most presidencies, there's 2 or 3 small things like that. Everybody was thinking that he was going to maybe decriminalize marijuana or something like that, and it was that, and it was the trans protections for prisoners nationwide, and in prisons specifically. I don't think jails. I don't think are state by state, but yeah, that was really great. That was a really great, like maybe 2 years of that. So, I mean, yes, we're in a protected state and it's all that, but I'm just worried about, I'm from the South and I never had any protections anyway, but I was very careful to like not even get pulled over. And then I move up here and I feel safer, but it's still, if I were to, I mean, I'm transgender. If I were to go to prison now, I wouldn't have the same protections that the state offers. I mean, unless they extend to the prisons themselves, which I don't know if they do now. It's a gray area and it's terrifying. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Worried about dying or getting like, horribly abused in some form.
Yeah. I mean, if you've listened to the Atheists Manifesto, Callie did a great and terrifying episode on this.
Yeah.
And, not only are they making sure that trans people are in danger, which, people don't care about prisoners in this country anyway, let alone trans people in prison. But it's almost, I don't even think abusive is the right word. It's intentionally antagonistic toward trans people. They deliberately misgender people. They remove them from their hormones. They just throw them to the wolves, essentially. And, if you've watched any like prison shows where they show someone who has to like, just either, buddy up with somebody or become so dangerous that they fend for themselves. Like, and not every trans person can do that. And it's even harder when, you are constantly being dehumanized. It's awful the way we treat prisoners in general in this country, but a social minority like that, it makes it even more dangerous.
Yeah, we just have to literally just hope we don't get, I mean, we're safer in Minnesota, but in the South, you just have to, if you work, if you step outside, you just have to hope you don't do the wrong thing in front of the wrong person. It's still, going outside is still a thing that is hard for all of us, I think. And I'm not trying to bring the mood down, even though I significantly have, but it's I don't feel like there's anything more important in terms of trans issues or rights right now. And I haven't listened to that episode of the Atheists Manifesto. I've been too busy creating content instead of consuming it regarding this the last little bit.
Right. And it's another way to just feed the for-profit system. We were talking about this last night. A lot of the attitude toward prisoners, if they even have one at all, is, well, then they should stay out of trouble. But when you have a social minority that it's legal to discriminate against in most places, including things like housing and employment, a lot of them end up homeless. And when they end up homeless, they get charged with loitering. And when you're homeless, you can't pay for the fines for loitering, so you get arrested and fed into the for-profit prison system for not being able to pay your fine, for being poor, and in this case, for being trans. So a lot of the times it's simply the fact that they can't get work for the nerve of being themselves in a state that doesn't have legal protection.
You can call it the trans to prison pipeline if you want, similar to how we treat racial minorities in this country. A lot of that is literally a school to prison pipeline. We have a public school system that seems like in a lot of states is almost designed to oppress people specifically, including the content that's taught. Specifically, Common Core is mostly garbage, but we know this. So there you go. That's how we do it.
Now that everybody's good and cheerful.
Yeah. Now that we're all, yeah.
Do. Yay!
So how about that local sports team? I hear this year they might go all the way.
I heard that they did something with a ball and a stick.
Yeah.
Stickball?
Maybe at the same time.
Yeah, Google keeps...
Yeah, I heard they threw the stick and had to catch it in their mouth or something.
I get the feeling I'm the only one that likes sports.
No, you're not.
I'm sitting next to Marissa.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Larry just made a stick in mouth comment, and I can't go get past that right now. I'm trying not to make the joke so hard.
We're trying to stay FCC compliant.
Of course.
I said stick, large wooden object made of dead tree.
You're exacerbating it.
Not helping. Like this morning for breakfast, I had a hot dog, and the rest of these people had donuts, and I was like, "Ooh, no, that could go too far."
Yeah.
Prop humor doesn't
There is
work on the
nothing
radio
dirty about eating a hot dog and donuts at all.
No, there's
I don't know
not.
why y'all are being dirty.
But as we say in the McCool household, there is no too far.
Yeah, we don't have lines.
There's no too far at the Patreon stuff. I do have the FCC here.
Of course.
Not here.
Well, not here, but they could
Like
talk
they
about
always have a chair, you know, at the table if they want to come and sit with us and chat with us. It'd be awesome.
Patron only edition.
it. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know what I would
Would it
even.
be fun to have an FCC person like sitting here that we could chat with and like see how far we could push it?
Like just having like
before
standards
the
and
radio-
practices.
Yeah,
That would be really good. I believe
Watching the vein in their forehead throb.
Yeah. Well, I believe it's there's at least 2 full-time staffers for standards and practices for Comedy Central that deal exclusively with South Park. That's their job, is to deal with South Park and blurring those lines, and they're all on the same team.
interesting.
Now that would be a fun one to get. But we'll return with our guests, Maddy, Marissa, Priss, and Larry, right after the break. Please stay with us. I'm Herzey Hertz, and you're listening to Atheists Talk on KTNF AM 950. Thank you for tuning in to Atheist Talk on AM 950 KTNF. I'm your host, Herzey, and we're having what I would classify as an amazing conversation with Maddy, Marissa, Priss, and Larry. Before we continue this conversation, which is our final segment with Maddy, Priss, Marissa, and Larry, I can do this. Which will be our final segment. There is a bit of housekeeping I need to attend to. Atheist Talk is produced with funding from Minnesota Atheists and Cucumbers Restaurants in Edina, Minnesota. Please consider visiting our sponsors, and if you do, let them know that you appreciate their support of Atheist Talk. If you'd like to advertise on the program and help keep us on the air, please contact us at radio@mnatheist.org. I'd also like to note our dedicated volunteers and generous donations of you, our listeners. You'll help keep Atheist Talk on the air and in podcast form. I'd also like to note our donors of the week, which is August, and our new patrons, Carl and Dennis Zastera. And Dennis, if I butchered that, I'm really sorry. If you're able to help with the donation, please consider doing so at our Radio Fund page or our Patreon at www.patreon.com/atheisttalk. Minnesota Atheists is a 501c3 tax-deductible organization, and we couldn't do the show without you, and we deeply appreciate your support. Music for Minnesota Atheists is by composer and member Brent Michael Davis and is used with permission. Please note all opinions are of the guest and host only and do not necessarily reflect those of Minnesota Atheists as an organization. Please, as always, check out Minnesota Atheists website for podcasts of previous programs. You can browse articles, book reviews, peruse the calendar of upcoming events. You can also sign up for the Atheist Weekly email. AWE will give you links to the upcoming events, and it's a great way to stay connected in the community. If you enjoy this show and all that Minnesota Atheists has to offer, please consider becoming a member of Minnesota Atheists while you're on the website. Membership has some great perks. Check out the hows and whys on the website. And with all this relevant and useful information out of the way, well, let's get back to our conversation.
Wow, that was a long. Like, I can't believe how fast you read that. You're so eloquent and clear and concise. You really brought the mood of the room back up to the level it was in that first segment, and I really appreciate that.
The levity and the non-regional diction just get me started in ways that I can't describe with FCC guidelines.
So how about those secular soup people?
Oh, yeah. Slurpees and this.
All right. So
I couldn't say a word on my own podcast.
I warned you. I warned you.
Was it Amy? Because I can't stand Amy. I like Amy, but I hate Amy.
I spent the entire time they were on mine just being like, okay, back to the thing, guys. All right, Larry, do you have an article for us?
Yes, and I also have a script for it.
Ooh.
Well,
Script. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
I haven't used Skype in what feels like years. Okay, there we go.
You press the button with the microphone.
Awesome radio.
For my story, I have picked another milestone in the descent of our government into a dystopian hexscape, populated by walking examples of the Dunning-Kruger effect. From New York Magazine, a House Science Committee hearing on using technology to address climate change was derailed at the station after Republicans, that party well known for its scientific prowess, simply started being themselves. Mo Brooks, a representative from Alabama, which itself is ranked third last in education, decided that he was more than qualified enough to pit his pig-headed ignorance against Philip Duffy, Ph.D., president of the Woods Hole Research Center, and former White House National Science and Technology Council advisor. In other words, an actual qualified muck-feathering scientist. when Duffy tried to explain that sea levels have risen ever since human beings have been on the planet, which ain't been all that long, Brooks responded with, let's assume, I think I'll do Eli's Ben Carson. Let's assume for a moment that what you're talking about has some kind of factual, rational basis for it. That ice has melted. Are there other factors? The other factors he's referring to rocks. Every time that you have that soil or rock deposited into the seas, that causes the sea level to rise because now you've got less space in those oceans because the bottom is moving up. There you have it, folks. Decades of research into climate change, millions of dollars spent, a complete waste of time and money. All we needed was one uneducated buffoon to solve the issue for us.
I see. If you're going to go do the impression of the people who's sitting here, you should probably find out if they're listening. Bye-bye.
Oh, shit.
I was just going to say, it seems like the world is just a giant D&D board to these guys. Rocks fall and everybody dies.
Rocks falls in the ocean and everybody dies too, apparently.
I don't want to play that campaign.
Rock falls down, water comes up. You can't explain that.
It's a miracle.
It's as big of a question as magnets or plumb bobs.
Or
I
gravity.
feel like there's not enough people talking about plumb bobs anymore.
What are plumb bobs?
Oh, thank you. I'm not the only one who was
Sounds
going
like something in Pick Up at Smitten.
I think it's an old alchemical term, if I remember correctly. I don't know what it's in reference to. I just feel like nobody says the word enough.
It's a funny word, like sort of like plumbus, or Rick and Morty, or Rick and
Kumquat.
Everyone's looking.
Yeah,
We're all Googling
We all
plumb bob.
stopped the radio show to Google plumb bob.
Apparently, it's on the Sims wiki, which is kind of awesome.
Is that where that came from?
I guess.
Wow. Oh no.
Oh, I've seen one of those. Like I had to know they existed for my my agricultural psychology class.
Yeah.
No, my agricultural something class.
A plumb bob or a plummet is one of those weighted pieces of metal on a string. Like when I put my finger down and move it around, like you guys know.
Yeah, we're
know
watching
what
you,
I'm
and
talking about.
everybody listening on the radio, you should totally watch
Yeah,
this.
totally great, totally great radio. We all do this already, and we're just worse at it right now.
This entire segment will be done by gesticulation, and that is 40 to 50% less hot than it sounds. So
we I mean, I would have to strong disagree on the 40% less hot. Shh, I'm trying. I know. I'm trying. I'm trying to be good. It's not a thing I'm good at. I'm not good at being good.
I didn't say stop gesticulating. I didn't say.
Is there an escalation of gesticulation?
that's just called a gesticulation.
Okay. Gesticulation is escalation.
And this is called the spiral downward.
This is so terrible.
Well, since we're going to keep spiraling, I guess I'll go with mine.
So that's what we do, spiraling.
Oh, God. That is an inside joke.
So recently, about a week or so ago, maybe 10 days ago,
I was like very slow at picking that up.
Okay.
No, that's easy.
That's the article.
Yes. So there's a woman in Florida who was helping her sister, I believe, clean out some boxes in a classroom. And she found police documents from the 1980s. And it's actual police documents they used for the satanic panic of how to tell of someone. And this person is awesome because they scanned them and put them on the internet. And I may or may not have contacted her and said, hey, if your sister's looking to sell.
They scanned them in the 80s? They scanned them in the 80s? You could do that?
No. Well, I mean, you could, but it was with this weird carbon stuff and it didn't translate well.
Mimeograph?
Yeah.
Xerox.
Well, I was going to say, it's like, I'm on that weird millennial thing where it's like, there's some old technology I know and some I don't.
It was purple and it smelled delicious.
Do you remember microfiche? All those chemicals that we had to deal with?
Like, I don't know what they had back in, I know they had phones and fax machines and like ye olde brick computers.
Yeah, I know there were copy machines, but it was like you had to be a certain level. Whatever. Anyways, we're moving on.
We just had monks that wrote stuff down all at the same time.
Why are we having this conversation?
Because it's more interesting than police documents.
They replaced scanners, but is that how they got uploaded the documents?
Okay, so I do want to do a little bit of working, because we do have some parents on this podcast. So these are characteristics of teen involvement, and I'd like you to let me know if you think that this is being a teenager or being a Satanist.
Yes.
Yes.
Difference.
Experimentalist.
Yep.
Fantasy role play.
Oh, yeah.
Intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Underachiever.
Yes.
No.
Low self-esteem.
No.
Difficulty relating to peers.
Yeah.
I'm a Satanist. Oh God.
I know. It's like you read the list of the stuff, and it's like that to me just sounds like being a teenager for the most part.
It sounds like being a person to me.
Yeah, that too.
All of that. It's like a person who likes to read and maybe play Dungeons and Dragons once in a while.
Oh, yeah. Until you get to this point. Once you get to this point, all of a sudden they say use of rituals, and I'm like, okay, technically most teens may not do that.
Well,
but
what
I mean,
about the teens that are forced to go to church with their parents?
yeah, there's that too.
They're
Did
ritualistic.
somebody say dungeons? Oh my.
Hey, if you're going to do Takei.
Oh my.
Yep,
Wow.
you win. Yep, you.
Oh, we
Yes.
should have had Marissa on for the Star Trek episode. Even though you're not a Star Trek fan,
Yeah, I would
could have
just.
been a Star Trek character actor.
Please tell me you had Callie on for that.
Oh God, yes.
Good.
I was going to say she was the first person I talked to.
Good.
Oh yes, it was like, hey Kelly, you want to talk about Star Trek? And she's like, yes, yes. So let's see, what can be involvement? Here's another great one: is criminal damage, rituals, burglary. Oh, this whole thing.
Rituals again.
Yes, warning signs: withdrawn from family and religion. I'm like, that's a teenager. All teenagers do this. So yeah, it was absolutely fabulous for those of us who are interested in the Satanic Panic. But that's really all I've got.
Oh wait, what?
I know. And we have 2 minutes left.
How could we ever fill that time?
I don't know.
Content
We
creator
could-
and say that.
What about your spin-off show about Manic Panic?
The Herzey Talks?
No, Manic Panic.
Yeah, because you were doing a spin-off about Satanic Panic because your spin-off about Manic Panic didn't go so well.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
It came out in like three washes.
Hashtag roast the sis.
Yes.
Yes, that was a great episode. Actually, that is something we can do. Everyone, we're going to need plugs from everybody.
Okay.
Phrasing. Marissa, do you want to go first?
I would take up all the time. So rissmccool.com. My 6th book is coming out. My 7th book is available to watch as it's written. I'm the host of the Inciting Incident podcast and the Sister Getting Out of Hand podcast.
Priss?
I am the host of a show called The Interesting Life of Priss. It is a different kind of podcast than you are probably used to. Also on my Patreon feed, I am writing segments for Marissa's book, and on my Patreon feed, I will do audiobook versions of each section as they are written, so you can check those out as well at patreon.com/PrissUnicorn. Just Google The Interesting Life of Priss, and you'll be able to find me and subscribe to me wherever you get podcasts.
Larry.
I may or may not have already pre-ordered Marissa's book because Marissa is awesome and so is her writing. And you can find me at patreon.com/Larry Yellingman, and on Spreaker just look for Man Yells and News.
Maddie.
Oh, you can find me on Atheists Talk on AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
I was going to say, you have another podcast?
Yeah, but I put out like 2 episodes this year, so
I'll
maybe you
produce
should
you.
listen to me on Atheists Talk.
All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning into Atheist Talk. We'd love for you to join us again next Sunday, which should be another exciting episode. I'm proud to be on the air with Minnesota Atheists, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. The show depends on the generous support of our members, our sponsors, and our donors. Please consider supporting the show through donation link at minnesotaatheist.org. This has been Atheist Talk on AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota.